Hi.
We're live.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just noticed that.
Okay.
If you don't know me, you should by now. I'm Keith, and this is my dad, Kerwin. And this is Father.Son.Galaxy. We've reached the end of the Crimson Dawn trilogy. We're going to break it down with our close friend and my uncle, Chris Ryons, the creator of the Broaxium channel, which includes shows such as Shootin' the Poodoo and Star Bros. Chris also manages Atomic City Comics in the great city of Philadelphia. Uncle Chris, welcome back to Father.Son.Galaxy.
All right. Thank you.
What's going on, everybody? What's up, nephew?
Hey!
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Did I ever mail that Lego minifigure to you?
No, not yet. Not yet. We got to meet up so I can check it out.
Yeah.
All right. You still have it?
I think so.
All
Next
right.
time we come up to Atomic City, we'll all bring the figurine.
Yeah, well,
You
Sounds
can keep
good.
it, put it on display.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, absolutely.
yeah, that's yours to keep.
Absolutely.
So how you been?
Oh, thank you. I've been hanging in there, man. How about y'all?
Yeah, you know, we're doing the same. You know, it is getting busy for us. I watched an episode of The Nice Guys when you were talking about the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi.
Return
You know,
of the Jedi.
that movie is near and dear to my heart. You know, I talk about 40 years ago. I remember going to see the film back in the day. So, you know, it was wonderful to hear somebody else, you know, reminisce about the same thing. And then you went to see it 40 years ago in King of Prussia. Yeah. How about that?
It's you know, that was Jedi was the first movie that I was 8 years old, but we're Generation X. So I mean, you know, parents let us just go and do things back then by ourselves. But that was the first time I could, like, you know, me and my friends go to the theater for the first time. I was 8 years old when that came out. So I mean, I was 2 when you know, New Hope came out, 5 when Empire came out. So I definitely, you know, I couldn't go run around with my friends. But this was the one, like me and my partner Mick was saying, like, you know, this is one we were most cognizant for, that we could go and enjoy it on our own, you know, all that kind of stuff. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
So that one held a special place in my heart, and it's still my favorite, you know, Star Wars movie for many reasons. But
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I thought your favorite was The Last Jedi.
It's a great movie, but my favorite, like just close, like near and dear to my heart.
Yeah,
Jedi, Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Last Jedi is just it's on another level. You know, I know there's a lot of haters out there, but
certainly it is on another level.
Okay, we're gonna stay on topic, right? We're not gonna veer too far away from why we're here. We're gonna talk about Marvel, right?
You know what else we're gonna?
What else we're gonna talk about? What's that?
Hidden Empire.
Hidden Empire. All right, come on. So let's catch everybody up. Let's just talk about Hidden Empire, what it is, and this is our third. This is the third trilogy, I guess, or the third
and final part.
Right,
the third chapter in the trilogy.
Right, yeah. So I
think we've had Uncle Chris here for all of it.
We did, yeah. So this is the final run for the Crimson Dawn series. So let's catch everybody up.
So to catch everyone up, the trilogy began with War of the Bounty Hunters, and this takes place right after The Empire Strikes Back. Han is in carbon freeze, which is stolen from Boba Fett, and qi'ra, leader of Crimson Dawn, is the person behind the theft. She sells Han to an auctioneer during the highest bidder, and he ends up getting sold to the Hutts. But Vader crashes the auction and takes Solo for himself. And after an intense battle with Imperials, Boba gets it back. And then the story continues in Crimson Reign. qi'ra makes it her personal mission to absolutely destroy Palpatine and Vader. She forms a team and causes panic and chaos within the Emperor's personal space. And now, let's talk about The Hidden Empire, written by Charles Soule.
Right, all right.
It'd be nicer if there was an echo in this room.
No, that's fine.
Hidden Empire.
And Charles Soule has written all 3 of the series. So, all right, so let's go ahead.
I'd be mad if he didn't.
Yeah, he's very good, as we know. So Hidden Empire, it starts off with these 2 people in hooded robes, and they're talking to the archivist, right? She tells the story. Well, she continues to tell the story about qi'ra. She's been telling the story from the very beginning. And she talks about how qi'ra and her team found the Fermata Cage, an artifact that is in the hands of a powerful dark side user that can cause havoc. Can you tell us more about the Fermata Cage and what is qi'ra's purpose for it? Why does she need it?
Yeah, well, the Fermata Cage was made by this ancient cult called the Ascendant, and they wanted to be on the same level because they were battling the Sith, so they wanted to be on the same level with them. So they created technology that could mimic what the Sith were doing, and as far as power and things like that go, kind of like what the Mandalorians are doing against the Jedi when they had their wars. But and I know the Fermata Cage is made by Lord Momin, who is just a little unstable.
Aren't they all?
But yeah. But the Fermata Cage, what it can do is it can freeze someone in time. So either they can come out, they have not aged or anything like that. So what I think qi'ra's plan was, it was one of two things that could happen with this thing. Either they find a Fermata Cage, they open it, and they trap Vader and Palpatine in the cage, or there could be some powerful Sith Lord or something like that who is in there that she can hopefully convince to destroy, because that's what the Sith do. They destroy one another until it's like the most powerful one. So she could, so that that if there was a Sith Lord in there, that Sith Lord could destroy Palpatine and Vader. Like that was her whole goal. Was yes, damaging the Empire and freeing the galaxy, but freeing the galaxy from the Sith was her number one goal. And she knows all about that since her mentor of sorts was Darth Maul.
So the cage then is it to do two things: to trap people inside the cage, and also if qi'ra wants to, she can unleash this unspeakable power and cause havoc and destruction.
Yeah,
hadn't she already done that without the cage?
Yeah. Well, I guess this is more powerful than anything that she can do.
Yeah. They kind of overplayed their hand on that one, and it blew up in their face, as people will read later on. Yeah.
Gotcha. So now Palpatine has a bounty on qi'ra. We know this from Crimson Reign. So he's told all of the criminals, the Hutts, the Pikes, the Black Sun, to go after qi'ra and to destroy her, because she's using everybody. Yeah. So they decide to go to her ship, the Vermilion, and destroy the ship. But they didn't know that qi'ra is not on the Vermilion. She also has another base, and she has a fleet. So she's making so much money. Apparently, she has her own fleet.
Yeah.
So the archivist and Ko-Fan Ferris unleashes the Fermata Cage. Anyone who is force sensitive felt the disturbance, right? So that's Luke. We saw a picture of Luke. We saw Yoda. We saw Vader. All felt the disturbance, right?
The Knights of Ren as well.
And the Knights of Ren, right? Yeah. And Palpatine was also able to pinpoint the archivist location and then sends Vader on that planet. So Cha, who is a part of the Crimson Clan, Crimson Dawn, and the orphans arrive to defend the archivist, Ferris, and Fermata Cage.
Yeah.
So let's go back and just catch people up on the members of Crimson Reign. So can we talk about Shanat Cha and what her backstory is with her and Darth Vader?
Yeah. And I hate that I'm forgetting the actual title of the comic itself. It may just be a Vader comic, but no. Yeah. I think it was, of course, it's Charles Soule. It was Charles Soule's run on Vader, I believe. Where Chana the Cha, her parents were bounty hunters, and they were paid to kill Vader. Which, I mean, why would you take that job? But so they were paid to kill Vader, and then Vader in turn, and his Inquisitors, they killed her parents, and like pretty much right in front of her. And she was 12 years old at the time, and she pretty much did a Indigo Montoya thing where she vowed to kill Vader at some point. And she worked herself up through the galaxy, became a bounty hunter, did a few jobs for Palpatine, like almost like a trusted source for Palpatine to take care of things, and that led her into another Charles Soule book, which was the Lando comic. That's where we first met her. And then after that, she created this group called the Orphans, and it's pretty much made up of orphans. And then later they become in league with Crimson Dawn to help Qi'ra out with her plans to take out the Sith. And that's pretty much was a selling point for her, was taking out the Sith, because that means taking out Vader. So that's where we are. That's where we are with her story.
Right. By the way, let me just mention to anyone who is watching, we are live, so you can comment if you like or ask any questions. So we are here to answer any questions or do any Q&A.
Right, Q&A.
So as a matter of fact, we have some Q&A right now. So all right, who do we have? Alex. All right, our good friend Alex. I haven't read Crimson Dawn comics, but I'm always excited to hear your thoughts and learn about the Star Wars universe. Thank you so much, Alex. Yeah. All right, thank you. We have twos back to 10.
She made two back to 10. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, hello there. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Hello back to you. All right. And talk about Star Wars, Marvel, butter cookies. It's a joke we have with butter cookies. Keith, well, I love butter cookies. Keith makes fun of me because he thinks I eat too much butter cookies. So he is now pushing to get butter cookies in Star Wars. So hashtag butter cookies and Star Wars. We'll see how it goes. Why not? Serve them at the diner. All right. Okay. All right.
See the Galaxy's Edge soon. Space butter cookies.
How about that? All right.
Yeah, just like how Galaxy Edge has orbs of Sprite.
Does it?
It does. It literally has like little grenade containers of Sprite.
Oh, okay.
I got them sitting on my shelf right now.
Oh, there you go. All right. Let's go. All right, Chanat Cha.
Yes.
Is that not you? You want me to read it?
I don't even know where we
are. All right. I got it. So Chanat Cha and the orphans, Amara and Seer, are fighting for their lives. All right, so they're on the planet with Vader. Mm-hmm. And Lady Bright, their droid, rescues the archivist and Ferris. So apparently Chanat Cha and Seer did not make it. All right, the droid requests backup from Qi'ra, and Qi'ra says no. Yeah. Qi'ra's only concern is keeping the Fermata Cage safe. And Qi'ra orders Lady Bright, the droid, to return to the base, but the droid's loyalty is with Chanath. So she turns the ship back around to see if she can go back and save Cha, but it's too late. And then the archivist is not having any of it and takes out the droid and takes over piloting the ship.
Of course.
All right. There is also a character named Cordelia, all right, who is, I believe she's a little girl. Mm-hmm. But Qi'ra has an interest in this little girl. Can you talk about who Cordelia is and why she's so important?
She is the offspring of two heirs to these two rival syndicates, the Unbroken Clan and the Mourner's Wail. And it's almost like some kind of like what if Romeo and Juliet had a child, and and something that could bring these two warring factions, these two families together. Part of it is both don't want to be as one group. The other thing is each one wants power. Like each group wants power. So her coming in destroys all of that. So both clans are pretty much after her. And Qi'ra takes a shine to her, takes a liking to her. And I think most of that is like she wants to prepare her for whatever, because she's going to have some kind of a future with the syndicates. And I think that, Qi'ra sees a lot of herself in her and wants to bring her up as best she can in a better way than she was. Because Qi'ra went through some terrible times to get where she's at. So she was hoping that maybe at least from my interpretation, that Qi'ra's hoping that Cordelia can find a better way in her rise to power within those two organizations.
Yeah. All right. Well, at this point, Qi'ra's running out of options. So she's feeling the heat from the Emperor and from Vader. She contacts Deathstick, who was also not saying that she's a full-fledged member of Crimson Dawn, but she did work with Qi'ra.
An operative.
An ally.
Yeah, she's an assassin. And Qi'ra goes out to ask for help against the Emperor and Vader, and Dexter says no, she's done. Find somebody else. So she sends a message to the Knights of Ren. All right, and surprisingly, they consider helping Qi'ra, even though the last time they tried to help her, they lost 2 of their members. Okay, so I'm curious to know, Chris, from your opinion, why would the Knights of Ren decide to go back to work for Qi'ra after what happened the last time, where they did lose 2 of their members?
I think for them, they're just biding their time until they could just get clear of that whole mess, because they are on a force totem pole, they're very low. So they want to, I guess they want to do what they can. If they could take out the Emperor, cool. If they can't, they can hopefully get away from, or maybe get in good favor with them, as we see later in the comic.
Yeah. And then she sends another message to someone. We don't know who it is yet, but we'll get to that. She launches a full-scale war on the Empire, and she sends out a fleet to protect a Maxine. So that is the planet where the archivist and Vader and the Emperor are located, a Maxine. Mm-hmm. So Admiral Piet, remember that name from the original trilogy, and his crew battle Qi'ra's fleet. So there's a space battle.
He got blown up, right?
Well, right at the end of Return of the Jedi, yes.
Yeah, because he was in Empire Strikes Back, and
yes, he was.
Yeah, the other dude got choked out. What was his name? Nozzle.
Admiral Nozzle.
Admiral Nozzle got choked.
And Piet was quickly promoted to admiral.
Yeah.
It was funny. Imagine being an Imperial and you're going to a job interview and you'd be like, "Why are spots opening up so quickly? Are people getting fired?" And then it would be like, "Well, there's other ways we can free up positions."
Yeah.
You don't fire them off the airlock if that's what you mean. I've done that before.
You don't want to work for Darth Vader. You don't want Darth Vader boss.
No. Mess up his coffee, it's over.
Yeah.
If Vader was my boss, he wouldn't be.
Well, I hope not. Yeah, I don't think he'd last long. All right.
I would have already taken an escape pod.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to tease Vader anymore, so that'd be pretty funny. Just sitting across from him at the interview.
Can I be honest?
At the table, and
I think it's kind of funny that a man who wheezes to draw breath is one of the most powerful Sith in the galaxy.
He is.
He is. If you saw this man without the helmet and the mask, you'd be like, "Oh, you feeble old man," and then Vader would be like,
"All right,
no Alex, in the Empire.
Time to go."
Alex says, "LOL, no unemployment in the Empire." No, you don't even make it to Social Security age. Can't retire.
As far as that question goes, are these comics they're ones you should read before Crimson Dawn? You can start, like one thing I always say, you can start anywhere in Star Wars and pick up from there and go. You can start with the first War of the Bounty Hunters is the first chapter in this Crimson Dawn trilogy, so you can start there with that. But to give it a little bit more weight, I would say watch if you haven't watched the Solo movie, and just get your first taste of what Crimson Dawn is like, and then go ahead and give that War of the Bounty Hunters, Crimson Reign, and then Hidden Empire a go.
Yeah.
Hey, Solo was good. Solo was
great.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
I don't know why it gets so much hate. It needs a second movie, I'd say.
Second movie, a series. Give me.
Yeah.
Give me whatever I can get.
Especially, I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I'm still waiting for a Qi'ra series, but who knows?
Yeah.
Well, if there's ever a second Han movie, a Qi'ra series has to follow.
Yes.
Immediately afterwards.
All right.
Well, what would they do? Like, where would it take place? Would it be like a film adaptation of the comics, or would it be like something that happens before War of the Bounty Hunters? Afterwards?
It's a good point.
It'd probably be something afterwards.
I'm thinking, you can let me know what you think, Chris.
Qi'ra just straight up disappears.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
After. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be after Solo, right? Like,
I think it would be
after Return of the Jedi, most likely.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Wait, you know what? Think about it. There's supposed to be
spoilers.
Spoilers. Okay.
You know, there's supposed to be this that movie that's taking place in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens with all the modern characters like Mando and Ahsoka
the
and
Dave Filoni movie
and all
that he's going to do.
Yeah, the Dave Filoni movie.
Mm-hmm.
Qi'ra would probably still be alive for that.
That's a good point.
Like 40 or something, or 50 something.
Yeah,
still alive.
Yeah.
So maybe Qi'ra will be playing a role.
Could be. I think
he's almost bald, like 60 before he.
Maul?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Before he breathes his last breath.
Yeah.
With everyone cut his legs.
I doubt Maul was that old. Not 60. No.
Well, he was probably about 30 when he fought Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but okay.
No, he was still young, like he was still an apprentice. So I think him and Obi were around the same age. So yeah, no, he'd probably be.
I can see that.
Yeah, like in his 50s probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Darth Maul was 20.
All right, let's just finish up here. Okay, so Admiral Piet and his fleet, they're battling Qi'ra's fleet. Vader and Palpatine land on the Amaxine station and they defeat the Dawn Army with ease. And then Vader and Palpatine encounter the Spark Eternal, Dr. Aphra. Mm-hmm. What is this about? I know we're talking about a different character and
what's the Spark Eternal?
Well, that's the question I'm asking. Yeah, so Aphra has her own series, obviously. So this is a continuation from what's going on in with her. But fill us in on the Spark Eternal. What is it? If anyone has not read the Dr. Aphra comics, tell us what the Spark Eternal is about. Okay.
I need to correct something that I said earlier. That the Fermata Cage was not done by the Ascendant. That was Lord Momin altogether. That was all Darth Momin.
Oh, no problem.
The Spark Eternal is an AI that was made by the Ascendant, and they, like I said, they were possessed with like mimicking powers of the Sith, so they could battle them, that sort of thing. Aphra and Son of Stars were tasked by Domina Tag, who's the head of the Tag Corporation, to find any kind of ascendancy tech, and she found something, and in true Aphra fashion, she was like, I'm going to use this for myself. I'm going to take this for me. And the AI, the apparatus itself had killed her and taken over her body. So pretty much in her consciousness was still stuck inside. So she had to, go through all kinds of trials and tribulations before she could get out with the help of Sana and all of her friends from the Dr. Aphra comic.
Okay. All right. And so Qi'ra uses Aphra as a distraction to Palpatine and Vader. Meanwhile, the archivist takes the Fermata Cage to the Amaxine station, and she once again opens the cage and unleashes the Sith power that we talked about earlier. The archivist escapes Amaxine and traps Palpatine and Vader in the cage. All right. So now Qi'ra orders the archivist to seal the cage. All right. So talked about that. But before the archivist could do so, the Knights of Ren shows up and they help Qi'ra and they destroy the cage. And it frees.
Rather than help Qi'ra.
Well, rather than help Qi'ra, exactly right. Yeah. They free Vader and Palpatine from the cage. Mm-hmm. And Qi'ra's plan, as well as the fleet goes up in flames.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, how about that? So
any final comments on the battle?
That was pretty interesting. Were you expecting that to happen? Knights of Ren turn against Qi'ra?
I was expecting the Knights of Ren to just.
We've all seen Return of the Jedi, so we knew that this plan wasn't going to, unfortunately, wasn't going to work. So I was when the Knights of Ren came back, I was pretty sure they were going to pull a swerve and help out Palps and Vader to get in some kind of a good favor with them, and it worked because they're working for Snoke, know. So yeah, I saw it coming, but not in a negative way. Saw it coming, like, oh, it's predictable. Like, no, it's just we know what happens with Return of the Jedi, so we're just seeing like how things are happening, how the galaxy was in turmoil, and then how things are sewn up before we start Return of the Jedi.
Good point. Mm-hmm. Good point. Right.
Yeah, this is kind of the thing, like when you make something cohesive and then you go back and write a story in the middle of it, you know who makes it out.
Yeah. So. But it's all about the journey, though. So, where we know how things are going to happen, it's still cool to see what happens beforehand or how things
Maybe
came
it's
to
not
be.
about the treasure, but the friends we made along the way. To quote literally every cheesy family movie with like a bunch of kids who find some loot only to find it's not loot.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the journey. Right. Yeah, I agree. It's a good point.
The Goonies taught us so much.
Yes. Yeah. And the Goonies also taught us that if you're bad, you get arrested.
Okay, that's good. That's well, I
don't know. Good lesson.
Not necessarily bad, but if you commit a crime, you get arrested. But okay.
Yeah.
And kids always go into a random basement. There will be loot down there. I kid you not. There's definitely going to be gold.
There's always something hidden in the basement. Right. So, all right.
Please don't ever do that. Chris, unless the basement is your own, or you know someone who owns the basement, don't go in there.
Yeah, right. There's always something down in the basement, this dark basement. You don't know what are you gonna find.
I don't go down in basements anyway. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Nope.
There you go. All right. So Chris, qi'ra is defeated. I mean, she's at a point now where she's got no other options. So she tells her fleet, whoever remains, I failed you, scatter, run for your lives. Goodbye and good luck.
Run for your life.
Start a whole new life someplace else.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm done here. You figure this out.
Exactly. Really, she just turns and runs in the other direction. So the ancient Sith Lord that we were talking about is unleashed from the cage, but seemingly returns back to the artifact. So
and Palpatine zaps the Knights of Ren for not being on their best behavior and turning their back on him.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Right. Remember, they stole from Vader's castle in the Crimson Reign series. So
I find that funny that Palpatine would shock the very people who freed him.
Well, right.
They could have left him there. They could have kicked that cage into space.
That's true. But Palpatine, he's going to get in his licks. You know,
that's his way of saying thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yes, Palpatine's way of saying thank you is by way of lightning.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how he deals with everything.
That's how he deals with it. That's his power.
Thank you for saving me.
Pretty much. That is Palpatine. That is Palpatine right there.
So all right. And now qi'ra leaves behind a message for Cordelia, right? And she tells her that she's going to leave everything to her credits. Mm-hmm. And then tells her about the knowledge of having a choice and having credits. So qi'ra never had that choice to have the life that she wanted. And, we know qi'ra, came from, low means. If you saw the Solo film, she had to struggle for most of her life. Right. She could not defeat the Sith. She fell into a life of crime. And Cordelia now is free to live the life that she chooses to live because qi'ra left this little girl with a lot of credits. All right. I thought I wasn't expecting that from qi'ra, but she really has this emotional attachment to this little girl, and she really sees this little girl in her, herself in this little girl. Right.
This random kid that she just picked up.
Right, but she has some kind of commonality with this child, right? So she wanted to give this little girl more than what she had. So I thought that was pretty interesting. What did you think of that decision for qi'ra to leave behind the credits to Cordelia?
I thought that was on brand with qi'ra because if you think about like through the Solo movie, I didn't see her as some just some ruthless or this evil assistant to this gangster. She was trying to help Han the whole way through. She's like, this isn't for you. Yeah. This isn't life for you. You're not this bad guy that you think you are. And she knows that he is a really good person. So, so I'm glad that, and of course it's Charles Soule, and he's a masterful, he's a masterful writer when it comes to Star Wars. Well, just writing in general. Yeah. But with Star Wars, he gets it, and he did a fantastic job characterizing qi'ra throughout this whole thing. So I was very much not surprised, but not surprised in a bad way. Not surprised that she did this for Cordelia.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're back to present. Okay, so this is the final scene in the series. We're now at the fall of the Empire. This is after Return of the Jedi, or during the fall of the Empire, Return of the Jedi. And the two hooded figures that we've been trying to figure out all along who they could be, turns out to be Luke and Leia. All right. And now that the archivists have told them the whole story about qi'ra, and there are these two agents that qi'ra worked for, and their name are Bevelyn and Melton, who brought the news to Luke and Leia.
Melton or Bevelyn and Jon?
Bevelyn and Jon, Melton, right? You're right, Bevelyn and Jon Melton, right? So apparently,
I messed myself up there.
No, that's fine. They're new characters. They're not in the film, but they're in the comic book. So I'm going to ask you if you could tell us, give us a brief background as to who they are. But apparently, these two people worked for Crimson Dawn, but they decided that they were going to help the rebellion. So they were the ones that gave Luke and Leia the news about the Emperor building a second Death Star. So tell us a little bit more about Beverly and Jon Melton.
Well, they worked for the Empire. They were both, this is husband and wife working for the Empire, but they quickly saw, what the Empire was all about, and they tried to get out. And they were able to get in touch with qi'ra. qi'ra was able to get in touch with them. So they started, being double agents for them. And when it was time to, I don't know, I need to read that issue again, but because it was one of the Star Wars issues, another Charles Soule issue. But when it was time to go, they had to stow away on a Imperial shuttle for an ISB agent, and things went down, and that agent is no longer living, and they had to escape. They had to flee. And I think they landed, I think it was on Coruscant. And that's when they gave not the plans, because that was the Bothans, but they were able to tell Luke and Leia about that there is a second Death Star being built, and that just set things in motion. So those guys are just as big a hero as the Bothans are, as Luke are, and whatnot, because without that, who knows what would have happened? Who knows how this whole thing would have played out?
Yeah, exactly. The unsung heroes, right? Very good. Very cool. Very cool. Who
knows what could have happened?
Exactly. Yep. And then just a couple of quotes from Luke and Leia. Luke says, "qi'ra saved the galaxy from the Sith, just not the way she thought she would." Yeah. And then Luke said, "I wish she lived to see us win." Now, take us to the next scene. We're in a cantina where they're actually celebrating the fall of the Empire. They're watching the big screen in the cantina, and they're watching the statue fall of the Emperor. And guess who has a little booth in the corner? None other than qi'ra herself. So she survived. She survived. All right.
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. So we were all wondering what was going to
Crimson Dawn Part 4.
Yeah, we were all wondering what was going to happen to qi'ra, whether she was going to survive this series, and apparently she did. So there's more stories of qi'ra to tell. Yeah,
there's going to be a 4th part.
There could be, yeah.
There could be.
Yeah.
Or a second solo movie in between the two. Let's do it.
Exactly. So your overall thoughts of not just this series, Chris, but the entire Bounty Hunter, Crimson Reign, and Hidden Empire. What did you think of these issues?
Charles Soule made himself an amazing trilogy between this trilogy, this original trilogy that we had, and he did a fantastic job. He brought things from every comic, every Star Wars comic that he's done. The Lando comic, a couple of one shots, the rise of Kylo Ren, because that's the first time we see a Maxine Station, and then that's used in the High Republic, which also he had a great hand in as well. So I thought that this series was fantastic. It got so many eyes on the Star Wars comics, which, as you know, to me is very important. And the fact that he brought qi'ra back, and I had to keep that secret for days, and that was tough. But I'm so glad that that he got to tell this story, and every story from all the other comics. Ethan Sachs with the Bounty Hunters, and Alyssa Wong with the Dr. Aphra book. and of course Charles Soule's on the Star Wars book, and Greg Pak with the Vader book. Like everything tied in perfectly, and I just thought it was an amazing series. So I mean, and I know the next series is coming out. It's called Dark Droids. And I'm really looking forward to that because I know that the Soule is at the head of that one too. So I'm real excited to see what happens. But this series was incredible and probably like my favorite story arc for the comics for sure.
Yeah. I want to make sure that I didn't miss any issue of this series. I mean, this was really, really well done. And you could tell it was well thought out and planned, not just with Charles Soule, but, he had to take information and facts from other writers and bring it all together, So the collaboration that he had to put together with, the other writers of the Darth Vader series and the Dr. Aphra series and the War of the Bounty Hunter series, just bringing that all together. That was just an amazing feat. And you know that these writers truly respect their work and they respect each other, that they can sit down and
their
share.
Characters.
Right. And absolutely respect the characters. And
they love Star Wars.
Bring them to light.
And that's like the most important thing. Yeah.
They love Star Wars. You could definitely see that. So
well, you kind of have to.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah. Let's go to Q&A. Let's see if there's any more comments. If you have any comments, final Q&A, send them to us.
I'm super interested in hearing the Crimson Reign and War of the Bounty Hunters and really appreciate hearing Chris, Kerwin's, and Keith's thoughts. The series sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is.
We reviewed the other two, so check it out.
Yeah, good point, Alex. So we do have a review. Chris, the three of us did review the past two series, and obviously you want to play them in order. I guess it would make more sense to play them in order.
We're gonna actually put a Crimson Dawn saga playlist on our channel.
We can do that. That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, so to make it easy for you to find the episodes. Very nice. Now look, if you're any more Q&A before it. Okay. All right. Alex, the agent is the one with the spice. The one with the spice. That's also a term that we use.
Yes, when we say one with the spice, we mean they've kicked the bucket.
They kicked the bucket. Yes, that's our term. One with the spice. It's a long story, Chris. We'll have to explain it to you.
You gotta make a T-shirt with that.
Yeah.
Butter cookies, T-shirts.
Exactly.
Boom.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So, what would Palpatine do? A Star Wars philosophy. Like
lightning.
Yeah, lightning.
Yeah, just one word. Just one word. Lightning. It'd be the shortest book ever.
Yeah.
You know what? Instead of saying what would Palpatine do, we can just say lightning. Pretty much.
That's it.
That's it.
Like you said, lightning.
Lightning, the Palpatine story. There you go.
There it is.
That's an audio book now.
There you go. Right.
Written by E.K. Johnston, probably.
All right. Now, speaking of E.K. Johnston, very good. All right. So, look, if you have not gotten enough of
what
qi'ra,
can I say? I know how to tie my stories together.
Yeah. So, in October, I believe, E.K. Johnston is coming out with a new book called Crimson Client. All right.
Yep.
So I went on Amazon and I read the description. So here it goes. So qi'ra listened to the dreams and promises of a boy with a reckless smile, only to be torn away from him and return to the White Worms gang, while Han made his way to freedom. Now, freedom seems like a luxury she can't afford while she concentrates on survival and despairs of leaving Corellia. But her fortune seemed to turn when a representative of the crime syndicate, Crimson Dawn, plucks qi'ra from captivity and brings her to the syndicate's leader, the mysterious and mercurial Dryden Voss. So Voss offers qi'ra an opportunity she's never had before, the chance to build something resembling a comfortable life that she can prove her worth to his organization. With failure, meaning certain death, qi'ra knows she must immerse herself in the merciless, murderous world of Crimson Dawn. Mm-hmm. What she doesn't know is just who she will be if she survives.
Yeah. Book releases October 10th.
October 10th, which is interesting because we know if anyone who's read the comics knows she does survive. Yeah. I thought that was interesting, but it seems like this is actually
like this was supposed to release before Empire finished out.
Maybe, who knows? Yeah, but like the pandemic pushed back a lot of release dates. It could be, but I get the impression, Chris, that this is taking place. There was a period, maybe like a half hour in the Solo movie where you didn't see qi'ra, right? Because Han and qi'ra were separated. Yeah.
This is that 3-year gap.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Once she was taken back by them. So the adaptation of the Solo story had a little bit on what she went through. The same thing with the and I know one of the I think one of the Solo books had something with that. So like I'm looking forward to see everything that she had to, like everything else that she had to go through, because she really had to dig down and do some very bad things to survive. So I'm not expecting this to be a happy story. So we'll see we'll see how it plays out. But I'm excited for this book. Hopefully there's an audiobook for it, because that's kind of how I consume my Star Wars novels. But
I'm looking forward to reading this book.
Imagine your boss being Vision.
Vision?
Yeah. Imagine your boss being Vision.
Okay. What problem would that cause?
Boss was played by
Paul Bettany. There you go. All right, Keith. Very good.
A very angry Vision.
Yeah. Two different characters, right?
If Vision didn't have a gem in his forehead and was angrier.
That shows how versatile Paul Bettany is as an actor.
Yeah.
Two different characters, completely different.
You can dress him up in some pink makeup and a yellow cape.
Yeah.
Or you can dress him up with some scars on his face and a ring.
That's right. Right. It looks like you think they're two different actors. All right. So that book is coming out, like you said, in October. All right. So Chris, tell us what's up. What's going on? What do you got coming up?
All right. So tomorrow night on Force Connect, we're going to be talking about, we're doing a Rebels conversation, talking about which one of these Imperial initiatives was the right one to take. And that's either the TIE Defender program or the Death Star. Or Project Stardust, as it was called. So we'll be talking about that and a few other things. Sunday we have Shooting the Poodoo, which will be out Sunday live 9:00 on the Broaxium YouTube channel, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. We'll have that going. We have a couple comments coming out next week, so there'll be some quick shots. A new Star Bros episode will be out. We're going to be doing Broaxium Gaming on Tuesday night. I will be on this one with Dan and Roke. We're playing Street Fighter 6. So I'm looking forward to that. And you can catch me and Pete Fletzer from Streaming Star Wars or from Force Connect this Sunday at Fan Expo Philadelphia. We're going to be talking about different generations of Star Wars fans and the fandom, and it's called Growing Up Star Wars. So we'll be talking about just our journey being Star Wars fans, and what we can remember from the 70s and the 80s and leading up till now, and then all the different generations and their interpretations of the fandom. So we're looking forward to that.
All right, we're looking forward to seeing you at the Fan Expo. So speaking of the Fan Expo, we will be there as well on Saturday, all right, June 3rd at 3 p.m. Okay. And then so we've been reading, I don't know if you've taken a look at this celebrity guest. Do you know who's going to be at this Fan Expo? Who's scheduled to appear?
Well, I know. I think Hayden, my man Giancarlo Esposito, is going to be there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna, because I opted for, I opted for Carl Weathers, because I can only do one at Star Wars Celebration. I'm like, well, I'm doing Carl Weathers. Like, that's it. So, but I need to meet Giancarlo Esposito. That's my man, Big Brother Almighty. Got to meet him. So
yes.
So looking forward to that. Who else was? Because Hayden, definitely want to meet Hayden.
All right, so
Giancarlo. Who else?
Okay, just like yesterday, you want to do switch, or you want to read off?
You read them.
Okay, all right.
I'm reading this list.
All right, that's fine. All right, so at the Fan Expo this weekend, we have celebrity guests scheduled to appear: Hayden Christensen, Katie Sackhoff, Giancarlo Esposito, Zachary Levi, Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, Christina Ricci, Henry Winkler, John Bernthal, Sam Raimi, Sean Astin, the cast of Back to the Future. All right, so that includes Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, the cast of Smallville, Stephen Amell and Emily Bett Rickards from Arrow, Joseph Quinn and Grace Van Dien from Stranger Things, and Peter Weller RoboCop.
Oh, RoboCop's going to be there. Nice. Nice.
Bruh. Oh, man. Yeah, that sounds like a great time. Yes.
Like in the RoboCop timeline, hasn't RoboCop retired?
You have to see the movie, Keith. And it's this a movie that
does he become one with the spice at the end or something like that?
I don't. That's funny. I don't remember how it ends, but I remember how he became RoboCop. It was very brutal. So it's not something.
He sort of became one with the spice before becoming RoboCop.
That's a good point, right? He did. Yeah, they had to revive him.
Spice.
He was a police officer.
Yeah.
He was a police officer, and then he got caught in the
line
of duty.
He got kind of beat up, and
you did your research?
No, I've just heard this. Long story short,
okay,
beat up is a nice word for what happened to him.
I'll try to keep this as PG as possible.
Right,
the more scientific you go, the less graphic it gets.
Yes, okay.
He ends up with some of his articulations in his like his arms, and he gets new robotic attachments to attach to his physical skeleton. My guy becomes a robot. Okay.
Yes, he does. Well, that's why they call him RoboCop.
They kept his face.
Yeah, they kept him alive.
They kept his face and his brain, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then everything else was.
Those are some nice details. I know now.
And you know what? It's interesting that this kind of movie came out back in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like, wow, that's
what the heck is Knight Rider?
Forethought. That people can have their parts replaced with robotics. What did you just say?
He said, "What is Knight Rider?"
Didn't they bring some more Marvel characters up there?
Oh, is that another Gray? Is that another Gray?
The 80s were an interesting time. I wonder if Keith knows about Knight Rider. Oh, wow.
I know about Marvel Knights. I have no idea.
No, he doesn't know about Kid Alex. No.
Who's Kit? Kit Harington?
No, not that guy.
Johnston?
No.
I love it. I love the generations. This is so much fun.
You mean Wisp?
No, we'll talk about it.
I'll say this: once you watch that show, Keith, once you watch Knight Rider at least once,
Knight Rider.
You'll never get the theme song out of your head.
We'll find it for you. Okay. Any
you
more?
Will never get the theme song out of your head once you watch it.
Okay. Keith, can you tell us where people can find us?
Oh, well, where can we find you, Uncle Chris?
Yeah, good point. Where can we find you, Uncle Chris?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and of course on Facebook, and TikTok under just Chris Ryons. And then you can also find me on all those other platforms under Broaxium. So come find me, come hang out, come subscribe, see what we got going on.
Excellent. All right. Keith.
Where can people find us?
Yes, where can people find us?
So you can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Our socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Father.Son.Galaxy. Website, Father.Son.Galaxy.com. Merch store, Father.Son.Galaxy.myspreadshop.com. Patreon page, patreon.com/Father.Son.Galaxy. Please join our race to 1,000 subs. We are almost there. We are about 91% of the way to get there. So please help us as much as you can.
Yep.
We need about 90 more subs.
We can do this. We can. We'll get it done by the end of June. Yeah, absolutely.
We can do this all day.
Yeah, we can. We good? Is that it?
Yep, that's all.
All right, Chris Ryons. Thank you.
Subscribe. Smash that subscribe button to get a free air diamond.
Okay. All right. Look, hey. All right, Chris Ryons, my friend. It's always a pleasure having you on. It's always fun talking to you about Star Wars.
Hey, I love coming on.
It doesn't matter what the topic is. We just love having you. So
I love coming on and talking with you for sure. Thank you for having me.
All right, no problem.
May the force be with you.
All right, everyone. So thank you so much for listening or watching this podcast. Until next time, take care, and we will see you again.